We're in North Carolina today, and our task is to locate Christy's dad's equipment, get it all out, and get it ready for an inventory. You might ask why that's requiring a chainsaw, and that's where the fun's going to begin. Let's get started. Yeah, Christy's dad had some really nice equipment like this John Deere 110 TLB, and we'll talk about it more in a little bit, but he also had some other equipment, let's say, that's back in here, and I think we're gonna have to try to find it to even see what it is. I'll get the saw out and see what we can do. Buried treasure right there, guys. Tires only flat on one side. Look, yeah, see, the other sides are just holding up just fine. Only one side flat. What's that worth? Now, I grew up in the Midwest, and I'm gonna tell you that during this trip, I've gained a new appreciation for Southerners and the Southern way of life. Why, you ask? Well, being a naive Midwesterner, when it came time to work in a place like this, I just started tromping on out there and working. And everywhere you look, there's fire ants. You can't touch anything without getting ants all over you, and I'm telling you what, you know that almost immediately. And just as soon as you get tuned in to fire ants and you're looking for them, here's a wasp nest. And no, not just one wasp nest every, once a month you run into something. No, there's like 5 or 10 in every little outbuilding, on every piece of equipment. We have wasps everywhere. And then I was minding my own business, trying to help one of the neighbors with a downed tree he had. It was just a pile of wood to me. He says, "Oh my goodness, that looks snaky. You better watch your business in there." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, copperheads, rattlesnakes." And if it had just been him, I'd have said he was teasing, but no. They have so many snakes here. It's swampy, it's nasty. It's no wonder just a few Confederates were able to fight the entire North. You've got to be tough to live down here. Now I'm going to have some help on this one. I don't know what this device is. The key to understanding it is these big chopping knives here. It looks like this straddled a row, and these big chopping knives were used to chop something. It wasn't powered in any way other than the ground itself. What you can change here is the depth. How low you want this to be. I doubt I can move this now. There's a roller bearing there that hasn't rolled in a couple of years. What I like about it is that it's all pretty much together, right? I mean, you can see all the parts of it. I don't think it's missing anything except for this had rotted off the front end. That bolt had come out. Had to get Christy's help for this one. It was just more than I felt like I could handle. It's a normal toolbar, right? It's a double 2-inch toolbar, nothing special there. And then it looks like it's a fertilizer, liquid fertilizer injector here, and a row bedder all in one. So they inject the fertilizer and then they throw a bed up on top of it. That's 4 rows. Hey, ran when parked.
Have you said that about everything?
So this is a Ferguson 7-foot tiller, or tillevator as it was called. Have a look underneath. They haven't changed much. But this one is heavy.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Lots more spindles than newer tillers.
And the neighbor said that it's working.
It's been used every year until this year, he says. Somebody comes and borrows it and puts it back. I was tempted to take this back home to Indiana as a you know, as a rehab project. But it's just so heavy. It just doesn't seem like it's worth it, even though it is working, even though I don't have a 7-foot tiller. I think I could pull this with the Yanmar, actually.
Okay.
Assuming I could pick it up, which I think I could based on the loader picking it up here. But anybody interested in this thing? Let us know in the comments. This is a 4-row birch cultivator. My favorite part about this cultivator, you're gonna laugh at this, but my favorite part is that it's all rusted out, but the sticker looks brand new.
Yeah.
This was made in Evansville, Indiana, where I was born. So this was born the same place I was.
Interesting.
4 rows, a row goes here, 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 and here in between the shovels. A gauge wheel, each of these can operate independently. There's 3 shovels in each of the middle rows, 2 on the outside one. And so that allows you to cultivate a row crop like corn or soybeans. Make me an offer.
5 cents.
Okay, this is an old Ferguson or perhaps Dearborn cultivator. There's a gazillion of these around. Seems like every time we find old equipment anywhere, you see these things. This one's only got 3 shovels left. The others have been robbed for something else. It's green though. Maybe I'm wrong on the brand name, but now we understand this building was constructed for a sawmill, and we see these rows of blocks and bricks here. I expect this is where most of the sawmill was. There's a little covered enclosed hut up here. I don't know how they powered the sawmill, whether it was a stationary motor or who knows what, but some of it was clearly enclosed in here. I suspect most of it was out here. It was built long ways so that the logs probably entered one end and came out the other.
My dad recently told me that they cut down trees and sawed all the lumber for the house I grew up in the 60s.
In here.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great story, Christy. Unfortunately, this building's days are probably numbered.
Well, it's fallen off the post.
And I don't think it's really worth putting back up on the posts. We've shown you some of Bobby's property around the house and all. Some of it years ago when we were showing the Hardy offset mower. But this is the other property here. This is roughly 75 acres. There's 50 some of it farmable. And it runs up there to that White House, and there's a grain bin out there. The White House is not included anymore, although Christy's uncle grew up in it and lived there all of his life as far as I know. But they sold that house, Bobby did, oh, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. I don't know when it was. But yeah, this property, I guess, now belongs to Christy. I'm gonna tell you, this isn't easy for me. It's sobering, actually. Ecclesiastes says, I built great houses, I planted gardens and vineyards for myself, and I planted all kinds of fruit trees. And then he goes on to say, I took delight in all my work. Something like the work of my hands or all of my labor. And then just a couple verses later he says, but then I surveyed all this and it was meaningless. And that's kind of what our sense is here. Bobby and Pat, Christy's parents, they worked all their life here, right? Bobby grew up in this house right here. He built that house right over there. I think you can see it. And now we walk through it, and you know, the furnishings that they cared for, that they bought, that they took care of. Oh, this one's worth $15 and this one's worth $20. And I'm telling you what, it is truly sobering. It's hard to deal with. Sorry if I'm not real eloquent on this, but it's been quite emotional. And understand, this is not my parents, it's my in-laws. Back to Ecclesiastes. Now, this is the conclusion of the matter. This is right near the end of the book. This is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and follow His commandments. You see, that's what's meaningful. None of this stuff is meaningful. I think a lot of people watch our channel and they talk about how much stuff we have. Guys, it's just stuff. That's all it is. It's stuff. It's not valuable. It really isn't. Your family is valuable because that is a legacy that keeps on going when you're gone. but your stuff, it's not valuable. Fear God and keep his commandments. Okay, with that serious point said, let's start looking into some of the stuff that we've got here that, yeah, we're gonna have to sell. I just don't see that I can get all of this back to Indiana. It's not entirely ours anyway, right? Half of it belongs to Christy's brother. So we've got to sell or dispose of some of this somehow. We've got a Big Tex 14 ET trailer here, and I believe they're somewhere around $9,000 new. This one was bought in 2017. I bet it doesn't have 2,000 miles on it. It's been kept under this little carport shelter here since 2017. I think we put a price of about $6,000 on this one, maybe $5,500. So when is all this stuff going to sell? Well, there's tentatively scheduled November 7th and 8th here on the property. We can put an address on when we get closer to it, in eastern North Carolina, between Williamston and Washington. November 7th and 8th, there's going to be an estate sale, and it's not going to be an auction. It's actually going to be, there's going to be stickers on each item with pricing, and you can buy what you want. I think they let people in a certain group at a time based on, you know, how soon you arrive and all that. So that's how this is going to work. Here's a little trailer with a fuel tank on it. I think they're going to be sold separately. Not exactly sure of the pricing. We can put a Facebook link to the gentleman who's going to conduct this sale for us. He does it commission based, and we're just really happy because we're not able to be here to deal with this. Now this piece is quite unique here. This is a double wide log splitter. Okay, they've taken the cylinder off of this side, but this was the standard log splitter here, and that was the heavy duty one over there. That is, as they would call it, a motor grader cylinder. Huge, huge cylinder. I don't know if it's a 6-inch cylinder. It may only be a 5, but I believe it's a 6-inch cylinder. And that was for the big logs. You see they've got the bracing on the top here because that could push really, really hard. Now, on one hand, this could be worthless. It would be worthless to me. It's got a Wisconsin engine on it. And if it were me, if you'll look at this really close, we've got a hydraulic pump just directly attached to the engine. If it were me, I would just get rid of that Wisconsin engine and put a different engine on it, right? And then the rest of it, I think, would still work, right? You could have a double wide log splitter. Now that, a unique piece, right? All homemade. Here's the back of that trailer. Here's a little tractor generator. It's probably got several hours on it. They use these a lot. We're in hurricane area here, so they lose power frequently during hurricanes. Bobby usually leaves that hooked up. I've unhooked the tractor because I got the tractor out for some other purposes this week, but he usually just leaves it hooked up here, as he would say, under the shelter, ready to go. So this is a New Holland 3930. I oftentimes forget and call it a Ford 3930 because I think they had, you know, only recently renamed at that point. We put a new battery in it. This thing's got 1,060 hours, 2-wheel drive. I would say that rear tires are at about 40%. 1,060 hours, I'm sure they're original. New battery, but the seat needs to be replaced. You can get these at Agri Supply. We just didn't have time to do that this week. I believe we priced this at $15,000. Not totally sure on that. Check the comments if there's a change. Oil was changed on this within the hour. I don't mean the hour now, but I mean within the 1,060 hours that's on the tractor. Bobby had changed it, I believe, last fall before he had his accident, and really hadn't used the tractor since. Here we are in Bobby's Ranger, Polaris Ranger. He bought it December the 9th, 2010. I think it's a 2011 model. A Polaris Ranger 400 high output. It is high output. We've had a lot of fun on this thing. We put a new battery in it this spring. I guess after he got out of the hospital, February or so. He changed the oil in it in November, right before his accident. Go out here in the peanut patch. Yeah, somebody's eating the peanuts right here at the edge. Not somebody. Probably groundhogs. Bobby put his own canopy on it. Did a pretty good job on that. A little bit of rip on the seat. New tire. This tire went flat on us, so we bought a new one. This other front tire is pretty worn. It's pretty much worn out. It still holds air, but it's pretty much worn out. Rear tires look to be in pretty good shape. Maybe 50 to 75%. That's a rough guess, I don't know. I think we've set a price somewhere around $5,500 on this. I really don't know the accurate pricing on this. That was set by the guy that's going to do the sale, so I've heard from 2 or 3 others. They think that's a good price. Bad Boy Zero Turn Lawnmower, 27 horsepower. Kohler engine. Starts and runs fine. I'm not going to make the effort to get on it and show you, but it does start and run fine. We actually got him one of those Pico trimmers for it. You've seen on our channel before. I think $2,500 for the mower. Hey, check this bracket out here. I'm going to show you what that bracket's all about. It's a little dark in here, but hopefully the camera, yeah, I believe the camera's going to do a good job of it. Up here we have a tube that goes, there's the boot that connects on the lawnmower, and that's his leaf collection tube, and then this is his leaf collection trailer. Notice that it fits those brackets right there. So it's got crazy wheels on the back of it, so it is hard fastened to the lawnmower, meaning when he zero turns that thing, it whips around like crazy. And he used that until late last year, late 24, when he got this. Now, I'm not intending to sell this right now. I guess I would if somebody made me a perfect offer, but this is his new leaf collection unit, or was his new leaf collection unit with our 1025R. And when I say I'm not going to sell it, this truly is our tractor. Original TKV20 that you have seen in ancient episodes on Tractor Time with Tim. All of this right here all stays together. I expect that I'm going to keep this tractor. Even though we're going to sell the house, we're still going to have the farm. And I'm thinking that the 1025R fully equipped. You know, you've watched this channel on YouTube that's shown that 1025R can do a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go by that guy and see if a 1025R will do it. The only thing I'm missing here is a brush mower. I don't have a 4-foot brush mower for it, but I have 2 of them in Indiana. Neighbor farmer told me that this is a King brand disc. He says that's top of the line. Yeah, I don't know if it's 7 foot or 8 foot. I'm not sure. Doesn't really look like 8 foot to me, but it's listed as 8 foot, I think. I don't know, $400 or $500 on that. A landscape rake. I would say this is a 6-footer, maybe a 7. Now this, the local farmer told me, is called a pea weeder. They use it to weed peanuts, or used it to weed peanuts when peanuts were really small. And it was horse-drawn originally. It's been modified to add the 3-point hitch attachment on it. Here's a really nice platform for forks. 4x8, yeah, that's a 4x8 sheet of treated plywood on there. Railing all the way around except for on the tractor side, right? So you don't really need railing on the tractor side. That allows you a place to get in and out. Then you could kind of lean forward over it. Bobby made this himself. I'm not sure what the price is on this, but you'll have to look on that Facebook link. You know, overall there's a lot of steel. See, there's an I-beam in there. You know, here's an old 3-inch auger. Some people might find some of that useful. There's some 4x4s, treated 4x4s up there. So there's a whole bunch of stuff like that that I'm not really going to go into because, you know, I don't know how many of you guys would be interested, but that I-beam is just a representative. There's a bunch of other steel scattered around that'll probably be consolidated. Here is something he has several of. He made these specifically for toting wood. They're made out of steel. He welded them up himself. So here you can see it's a steel pallet. It does have a wood floor, but it's a steel frame. And then it's got the frames on the side with the vertical boards here. And then one piece across the middle. So he'd put 2 rows of cut firewood in here. Bobby heated with wood, entirely with wood, until 2 years ago. Yeah, he was 86, I believe, when he finally, his wood boiler quit on him. And he almost bought another one, but they were too expensive. He decided he better not buy another one. Never mind, he was 86, and he was cutting all this wood by himself. Here is a single axle trailer. It's a tilt trailer. I believe it's homemade, but you pull that pin right there, and you can tilt it. A really handy trailer. And here's one of those wasp nests I'm telling you about. I'll get the camera close, but I'm not going to get that close. A Woods Brush Bull, 72-inch mower. Pretty good shape. I don't see any denting. It's never been in any rocks. I really don't have that many rocks around here. I can't tell if the slip clutch has been hot. I don't exactly know what's going on there. Of course, any mower made like this is going to have those slightly bent braces there. Probably because this didn't work perfectly when he went over a ditch somehow, or he got it even too far and it still pushed those back. That's what happens when you get your rear wheels of the tractor in a ditch and then the mower wheel has to come up. Something's got to give. But that's no damage on the mower. I think we're asking $4,000 for that. I think that's about half price of a new one. Maybe $38.50. I'm not exactly sure what we're asking. Again, Facebook link has the actual details. Here's what's left of Bobby's firewood. That's going to sell too. Now I can tell you that this entire shed here was full right to the front 3 months ago. So somebody's been in here and got some. Yeah, we told them they could, but you know, this is after all these years that he's had all this firewood. Same was true for this one. I don't think it was totally full out to the front. It was fuller than this, and you know, some of this wood's fairly old, but it's been in here, been kept dry. Now this is a unique thing. I'm actually thinking that I'll take this home. I'm gonna let you guess. What is that? Give you just a moment here. Any ideas? That is a homemade fish scaler. Yep, you put the fish in right here and you power it up and it turns. Each one of these holes here has sharp edges on the inside and the fish rotate around there. There's water goes through it all the time. There's the scales down there of the last time he used it. I don't really have any need for it, but it's kind of special. I'm having trouble letting go of it. There's a bunch of furniture and small pieces in the house. I'm not going to go through all that, but you can see that on that Facebook link if you're interested in that type of stuff. We just don't have need for that furniture, and well, somebody might as well be using it that can get some value out of it. Now here was the newer log splitter that Bobby always used, and you can tell that it's not weak. And where it was too weak, yeah, that didn't work out quite right, so they just added a 1/2 inch of steel on both sides. How do you like that? Used pieces from a hardy hydraulic implement of some sort. Probably all the hydraulic motor and pump, valves and stuff. I think they're wanting about, I don't know, $800 for that. I'm certain it'll run. I haven't tried it this particular time, but someone said that they heard it running last year. Okay, here's the one you've all been waiting for. This is the 110 TLB. It's probably the most valuable piece here. Well, it is the most valuable piece of everything we've shown today. But having said that, we really don't know how to value it. I have access to a lot of tools, as I've shown on this channel in the past, but I'm seeing sales as low as $20,000, and I'm seeing sales as high as $50,000. I'm seeing a bunch of these things listed in the high 40s. Well, why $20,000? Well, $20,000, I'm guessing they're pretty beat up. If these were purchased to be used in a construction world daily, I suspect they got pretty rough treatment. This one is a 2006 model, I believe. Bobby bought it brand new. It's got 1,290 hours on it. To my knowledge, there's no damage whatsoever on this machine. Everything works as it should. It comes with this set of forks, this 4-in-1 bucket for the front, and the grapple that you saw earlier in the episode. Now for the backhoe, there are 3 separate buckets. This one looks like, I believe, I don't know if it's a 2-foot bucket or an 18-inch. I should measure, I guess. This is a homemade bucket. Bobby made it himself or had some friends help him with it. That's made specifically for digging graves. It's a little bit different angle than most buckets. You can kind of compare to one right back here that I'll show you. Here's his narrow trenching bucket. This one hadn't seen a lot of use. It's still got original paint on it. But the grave digging bucket is quite worn, and you may have heard us talking about this, maybe not. Bobby actually dug a lot of graves in the community. That was one of his services. The funeral home charges $1,800 to dig a grave on the weekdays, and another $700 if it's on the weekends. Yeah, Bobby dug a lot of graves. And the whole community gets together around here, and it becomes part of the mourning process for the community. We have some photos from both Christy's mom and Christy's dad. Pretty touching events. Current price on this machine is $37,500. If any 110 TLB is worth it, this one is. I mean, I really don't know. This is hard for us to price stuff like this. It's really hard to know. This is really emotional for me. Even though I didn't spend a lot of time working with Bobby in his shop, this was his place to be. This is where he wanted to be. This is where he sat after he had his accident and he couldn't make it all the way to the house. And even after he was injured and feeling better, he would just come out here. He and Christy would come out here and just sit in the shop. Lots of stuff here. The bandsaw is going to sell. I don't really think I'm going to take much of this, if any of it, from this point. Fear the Lord and follow His commandments. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.
Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind.